gonna pull some more cards. I get there's something in the past where he was trying to balance his money when it comes to receiving his money. I feel like there was money that he didn't receive. I feel like he's definitely waiting patient for some money, but he's definitely looking at people on the wall. I feel like there's dead people that he's looking at, he's reminiscing about people who didn't get paid fairly. And I feel like he feels like he's going to end up being the fool. Like this is definitely going to be some unknown territory, or he don't want to look like the fool. But I feel like that's what it's going to come down to in the future. I feel like he knows in the past he was goofing off when it came to work. I feel like he wasn't really reading the fine print. He wasn't looking in the contracts like he was supposed to be doing. And I feel like it's going to end up stabbing Snoop Dogg in the back. You know, it will be the end of a phase. And I feel like he's going to end up leaving his troubles behind. I feel like that's why he smokes a lot, because the pressure of the media and what he see and what goes on in the business. I feel like there's a lot of things that he done signed that he had to be silent with. Like they're like something like an NDA, but not really an NDA, kind of like you know, I feel like he's seen a lot of stuff in his time that were bad, and he's not what people, you know, they told him sign this agreement to not tell a soul, and he signed it, and he's not saying anything. I feel like in the past there wasn't really victory, because there's some upsetting news that is coming, some upsetting news, and it has something to do with some secrets. Like there's a cover-up that you guys don't know about. I get that in the past there's something about an appreciation apology. It was a tense situation. It has something to do with some trickery when it came down to this King of Swords man and a fire sign man. There's two men involved. I feel like they're tricky. They might be on to Snoop Dogg. A Gemini, Aquarius, Libra man. Could be Dr. Dre, not sure. I feel like he's one of them. And there's something dealing with, I feel like this is Suge Knight. There's something dealing with Suge Knight and Dr. Dre. Y'all, a lot of people are getting exposed this year. This is crazy.
So, Suge, I gotta ask you, and shout out to Snoop. I don't got no issue with Snoop, but every time I ask you about Snoop, you always bring up Vegas. And from what I get from it is you feel like Snoop knew what was going to happen to Tupac in Vegas. Can you speak on that, if you don't mind? Like, go more into detail?
I'm going to put it to you like this. I'm never going to say him. But the writing's on the wall, what I mean by that. I know they got into it in New York. I know Pac ain't turning nothing down. Pac, go. When it's time to go, he gonna go. And I know that the three of us, was close. After I called my mother, I'm gonna hit Pac, I'm gonna hit Snoop, make sure they straight. So all three of us communicated with each other always. He had a fight. He had a ticket for the fight, a Tyson fight, where we always go to, a ringside ticket. They all knew that was an East Coast night, and everybody was excited about it. I had Run DMC performing that night. When you look at it, Dad said that, hey, we weren't going. Snoop was on, fuck Death Row, basically fuck Tupac and everything above, and something gonna happen.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Warren G says that Snoop was at his house watching the fight, and he had the walkie-talkie, the radio. Now, these walkie-talkies, the radios I had, it's not a Nextel. This is before all that. I had these radios that work on the whole West Coast. San Diego, Vegas, Oregon, the West Coast, Denver, right? So only time a person got one of those radios it's like if they was going to a club or they was going to court or they was going to an event that they can communicate with their security. Whoever doing those security details, the security didn't keep them 24/7. So the radios were handed to, if two guys was going to be on Snoop, I would hand them 2 radios, and Snoop would have 1. After that's finished, they would turn them back in. So it wasn't no need for Snoop to have a radio. That was surprising. So when Warren says he heard the shots, he heard everything was going on, and when everybody said they heard him say they got him, that's not just a red flag. That's a fact that somebody involved with something they shouldn't have been in, and they had a radio they shouldn't have had. So that was the first thing. Then Corrupt, they interviewed Corrupt, and Corrupt says Snoop had the meeting and said, we're not going to Vegas. So they weren't going to Louisville, so that's basically saying like something's going to happen. And then Nate Dogg says, I'm going to Vegas. I don't got to be around those niggas. That's his exact words. I can be here, I can be there, long as I don't be around them. Basically saying if long as I'm not standing next to Tupac or me, he'll have to worry about a straight bullet getting him. No other way. And the fact that not only did he not come to the hospital, not one of those people, them people, whatever you want to call them, did not do a song with Tupac. We put out 2 albums after Tupac was gone. Snoop not on one. Snoop did his album. You probably guys don't remember. He did that album on his own. What was the Dog Father? It's not a Pac verse on that one. And he had lots of them to pick from. Not a one. When Tupac got a star on Hollywood Walk of Fame, not one of those individuals, them people, did not come. So you can go up there and accept the award for Pac, act like y'all was close, but y'all was enemies at that time. And I do say this with all respect to the whole West Coast. I tried everything to keep the love for Snoop. If there's something personal, we'll deal with that on something personal. But when he went out his way and showed the facts, what he did, his involvement, that bothers me. And what's even worse than that, Ray J even said Snoop told him that. So it's like bragging points. But you know, it is what it is, you know? Certain things that happen can't be changed. But shit, if you look, you're not going to smell the smoke. You're going to see that fire burning. That's that.
I get that there was some confusion in the past, but I feel like the fog has been lifted. Within 3 months' time, there's going to be some sudden changes that are going to happen within 3 months' time. This could happen within 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months. This will happen. Be on the safe side, could be within 3 years.
Is there any truth to Dre not wanting to give Pac California love?
Absolutely not, because this producer dude did the beat. So Jay Flex is the homie who's signed to my publishing company, and he wrote the song, California Love. It was just California Love without Roger Troutman and none of that. So we listened to the song, I'm like, man, this is a hit song, but it'll be a whole 5-10 years before we do an album on Andre. So me and Pac being so tight, I tell him, I said, look, take off the second verse, and I'm going to have Pac write to it. Put it on All Eyes on Me. So when Pac came to the studio, I said, I got something for you. It's a gift. And I said, the second verse is, I took off, so that's you to write to. So take it home and, write to it. He heard it and said, man, I don't got to take it home. I'm going to do it right now. So he ran in the booth and knocked it out. He did it. Then once he did it, we kept playing it back. Then I called.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Roger Troutman came in. I gave him a couple $100 grand. He laced it. Yeah, and Andre was mad about it because he wanted it for himself. So that wasn't even no situation where it was a good one. We did that. It became history. That's that. And at that time, Pac and Snoop was falling out because Snoop didn't even show up to the California video. We did two of them, one in the desert and one started off at the Compton Swap Meet. Like I said, that's before the shit happened in New York. It was already a situation where I think this jealousy just overtook everybody. You know what I mean? Because it was a time where everybody was running them, and then Pac came and shut the whole West Coast down. Not just Death Row took over. Pac came and did some things that nobody never did before.
From my point of view, right, it always seemed like Pac and Dre never clicked. Why was that?
Well, when he found out that he wasn't doing the production, he wasn't writing no lyrics, and he was like, man, why this dude getting credit for verses he not writing? And why he getting credit for tracks he not producing? And that was his question. But then the final thing was, when Snoop trial was going on, I needed Andre to go up there and be a character witness for him. And he didn't want to do it. So the lawyer's like, man, you gotta go. We need you. He said, man, he was like, you better cancel that. If it's up to me, he going to prison. So Pac was like hot about that because Pac had so much love for Snoop. That's another thing that bothers Pac so much. He was like, I'm riding for this dude, and he ain't riding for me. So that's how it all started going bad. And then they did a song called No Diggity, No Doubt with Teddy Riley. And at the beginning of it, Dre pretty much dissed Snoop about, even though he didn't write it, but it was like Pac thought he was dissing him. He said a dog came, all fetch and all that type of shit. So Pac had wrote Snoop a verse. Snoop came and did his verse on Toss It Up. Even though he didn't do it, Pac went in on him, and said what he said and stood by it. But, Pac was just a different type of man, all Death Row. And a lot of people say a lot of things. And a lot of people say it's truth on these platforms is because I'm mad about Death Row. That's crazy because we had moved from Death Row a long time ago. I started Death Row in 91. Death Row died in 2001. And I don't know why Snoop or anybody else, if they that good, they should make their own label. But they failed at their label. Or whatever Jay said, make another hoe, or whatever he called himself, another Jay-Z. And I feel the same way when everybody's, pounding on their chest that have nothing to do with nothing. I'm not mad. Nothing but blessings to everybody.
Yeah, you referring to Lost Ones when Jay said that line about making another Hove?
Yeah. Once again, I'm not a rapper.
I get that in the past, there's something about an appreciation apology. It was a tense situation that had something to do with some trickery when it came down to this King of Swords man and a fire sign man. There's two men involved. I feel like they're tricky. They might be on to Snoop Dogg. A Gemini, Aquarius, Libra man. Could be Dr. Dre, not sure. I feel like he's one of them. And there's something dealing with, I feel like this is Suge Knight. There's something dealing with Suge Knight and Dr. Dre. Y'all, a lot of people are getting exposed this year. This is crazy. This could happen within 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months. This will happen. Be on the safe side, could be within 3 years. Be on the safe side, could be within 3 years. Within 3 years.
Predicted it. If it wasn't Diddy that called the hit, was it Snoop Dogg? Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll find out in the next video. Thank you for watching.